All right, now we are live. This is rediscovering Black conservatism, the second blog. This is where we attack one explosive topic. We tried this before. There was a little bit of technical difficulties, but now we're loud and clear. So we're gonna get right into it. The LA Sheriffs versus LeBron James. So what we want to know is let's go back to it. Is this a political ploy by the LA Sheriff? For those that didn't hear, just let them know, Charles, what you said. Is this political ploy by the LA Sheriff against LeBron James?
I say not political, but he definitely has an agenda. I think if it helps find the guy, that's good. But obviously, there's a reason why he picked LeBron. There's many celebrities, many other people he could have picked. He picked LeBron because of his love for BLM and because he happens to play in LA. To say either, hey, if I win, it's a win-win for me. If I get him to give me money, good. Maybe they'll find the guy. If he doesn't, I can prove that he's really against the police. So that's pretty much what it was.
Right. Like I said, for the viewers that didn't see, I just feel like, you know, I don't get into the whole celebrity trap. It's basically a celebrity trap because, like I said, there's other people that he could have went after, other people that can actually do things and pass policies. Going after him is like it gets you a million Twitter followers, you know, like you said, for a day, and then boof, either it blows up in your face or it goes away. So, you know, I don't really see why he would attack LeBron other than the fact that as far as sports and entertainment goes, he's the biggest voice in the room, right? And like you said, if his angle is emotional and anger, it's easy to see why he would attack LeBron because he's the biggest face in the room right now, right? And usually go after the biggest face. But other than that, I don't see, because the truth of the matter is this. LeBron is not going to donate to Blue Lives Matter, right? Because LeBron has made it perfectly clear that his allegiance is to Black Lives Matter. So my whole thing is asking him for a donation, other than you trying to maybe prove that he's a hypocrite, it does no good because he's not going to donate because he's already made it clear that he's only interested in Black Lives Matter content.
And
Now,
he's not a hypocrite. I mean, I don't know whatever your views are of LeBron, and I have not minced words, so it's pretty clear what I think of him. But he's not a hypocrite because he's never. It's not like he's doing something opposite of what he believes. So trying to make him look like he's a hypocrite because he doesn't give to an organization he doesn't really support doesn't really do that. But personally, I think he's doing it. He is a big voice, but it's because he's in LA. If he was a big vocal advocate for BLM, but he played in Chicago, he probably wouldn't call him out.
right. So my whole thing is what what should the LA sheriff have done in this case? In my opinion, I feel like he should have just gone after the rhetoric. I don't care if it's LeBron James. I don't care if it's Joe Biden. Whatever platform, whatever power that LA sheriff should have had, he should have used it just to destroy the anti-rhetoric. If he was going to say "see," he could have said, "See, look, this is what your rhetoric produces, right?
Yep.
This is the fruit of your rhetoric, and now you have blood on your hands, right?" He would have been better off taking that approach, making everybody look at the mirror. Do you want to have this rhetoric? Here it goes. Now, what are you going to do? Are you going to take responsibility for lives that's been lost? And I don't care if they're cops. I don't care if they're Black citizens. When lives are lost, we have to equally take it seriously. So
Hmm.
you better calling out those that have the ability to say, hey, listen, are you going to take these two lives seriously? What are you going to do about it? He's better off doing that than, because I feel like you said, most entertainers are not seasoned in politics, right? So then when you
Hmm.
becomes this thing where it's like a joke, right? And if he lost men and it's not a joke to him, he does himself a disservice by going in that lane because now you're getting a little jokey. You know what I mean? Like, oh, LeBron James. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I think you're 100% right. I mean, 99. It would have gotten you all the way there was to actually say the words BLM, say Black Lives Matter, which I'll get to. But I won't even say the entertainers as a joke. Like you mentioned earlier when before we had the glitch, that a lot of people are saying, well, give LeBron a break. He has to school, he gives back to the community, which is all commendable, but one has nothing to do with the other. Everybody has a right to speak. This is a free country, even though people are trying to cancel out speech. Everyone, I want more speech, not less speech. So he can speak, but I just feel he has, if you're going to speak and you have a big platform, you have an obligation to know what you're talking about. It's just part of what you need to do. If you're going to reach that many people, you need to have your facts code. And a lot of these people, and it's not just celebrities, there's a lot of people on that who are on the left that are emotionally weak and intellectually lazy. So they just go off of whatever they feel, and it's bad. Now, to the sheriff, you're right. He should have called them out. I am working on the book. I'm going to expose it. You all will hear about it soon. And you're going to find out what Black Lives Matter really is about and what they really believe. And no one who is logical will walk around saying, but I don't like everything these people are doing. But I agree with some of what they say. No, you don't. You just don't know what they believe. So he needs to call them out specifically. Say, Black Lives Matter is the reason this happened, period. Not Trump, not Biden, not Obama, not, the people, the local politicians, not some corporation. Black Lives Matter and the stupid people who follow their extreme rhetoric.
Right.
It was steps though, right? So they started to accept weaker things that were still negative, but it's kind of mean, but whatever. And then they took another step. And then they started to, chant things and do things. People are like, I don't agree with that part, but that doesn't mean I'm against them. And then nobody stopped them. Then it went a step further. Then it was, eating people's food and drinking their drinks and slapping food off the table. Then it was throwing bricks at cops. Where did you think it was going to lead if you didn't stop it? Now you can't control the mob. Now, to be honest, I hate to be pessimistic, but you can't stop it.
Right.
You can't because most of us don't want it to go on like this, left, right, or center. But at the same time, we don't want over policing. But you let it go too far. The only way to stop it, I think we talked about this on our crime show. But I said I don't know what to do, and I'm a problem solver. But I know honestly, the only way to do something about this is going to be with force, and nobody wants force. Not in this climate, in this election time, with this particular president and his opponent. People don't want that. But that's the only thing that's going to stop it. You can't stop mayhem in the streets without cracking somebody in the head.
Right.
You can't. And we don't want to do that. So it's going to keep happening.
Right. And I think another thing that I spoke about, I think I spoke about it on Twitter. I think I spoke about it on Facebook. We can all agree that whether you're black, white, left, center, we all want to see a better America, right? We all want to see what the Constitution.
Well, not Black Lives Matter, but okay, go on. Not Black Lives Matter.
I'm talking about regular citizens, right? No, you're right. You're right. I'm talking about regular citizens. We all want to see equal justice under the law, right? The problem is too many people are distracted. It's okay to express your belief that you believe in a slogan. I don't care if it's Blue Lives Matter or Black Lives Matter. Slogans don't bring America together, okay? All they do is get you in a debate. Slogans are nice. They feel good. It puts you in a little debate, but it does not bring healing. I don't care which slogan it is. Slogans,
and not just slogans. Feel good gestures, right? Singing a song, hashtagging something on Facebook. Like, well, I changed my Facebook picture to France, so that makes it okay. Taking a knee. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles. They took a knee on the same day, saying we're standing against police violence, and then police shot 2 people that day. Because when it comes to the end of the day, it's not that I'm condoning it, it's not that I'm dismissing it. I'm a realist. And what happens is when the police, everyone out there knows this. Now, whether they're willing to admit it is different. You know that at night, chasing a criminal, a police is running after somebody or a suspect, and they turn and they got a knife or a gun in their hand. No police officer, the number is 0. The number of police officers are going to pause before they shoot that guy and say, well, what would LeBron say? So it doesn't matter how many knees you take. When that cop is in that situation, he is going to shoot.
Right. Well, very true. And I just want to piggyback off of something because a lot of people may get my words confused. What I'm saying is the answer, and like you're saying, the answer is not in the slogan. The answer is what we follow, which is the Constitution, right? All men should be treated equal under the law. So that means that
police officers,
I don't care if
everybody.
You're a janitor, you're a multimillionaire. If you do something wrong, the law applies equally, right? And the great thing about that is that all of the people that don't want equality, but they really want preference, right? You stop them dead in your tracks. You say, listen, I believe the law applies equally across the board. Those that don't want equality, they're trying to work their way around it. But this group of people have a special case.
Right. Y'all talk about income. So like Jeff Bezos should not go to jail faster than me because he's rich. He should also not get off of murder, but you shouldn't be like, but he's a billionaire, so who cares if he's really innocent? Let's put him in jail for murder. What the hell is wrong with you?
Right. Right. True. Then and this is where this is what I'm talking about. This is where the real conversation has to go, because at the end of the day, this is what I mean by celebrity trap. Now everybody's focused on LeBron, right? Everybody's focused on the on slogans, but nobody's focused on solutions. Like
Yep.
literally,
I
yeah,
want to. I want to leave you with a question though. Everybody's always talking about justice, justice for this person, justice for that person, justice, 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 justice. But they don't really want justice. They want their own version of justice. We know that. But here's the question: they talk about George Floyd. They've been marching all over the world with George Floyd. But let's think back. It seems like it was 20 years ago, but it was just a couple months. Didn't they literally say we can't control human nature, but cops shouldn't get away with things? So these cops were wrong, and we want them arrested. Isn't that what they said?
right.
Did all of them get arrested and charged?
No,
All
no,
of them got arrested and charged, right?
they did, but I don't.
So until the trial comes, we don't know what happens. So what else do you think justice is outside of arresting them and investigating? Every one of these cases becomes a federal civil rights investigation as well. So you got multiple investigations going at the same time. What else do you want? You want to hang them up in the streets like the Oxbow incident? I mean, what do? You want to say that guy's guilty and just kill him? No trial. Well, that's what Jacob Blake's father said.
Right. Well. Then you have to make that distinction. There's a difference between lawyers, judges, and people in leadership decisions making the right decision and handing it over to the court of public opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two different.
Right.
The people
Mm-hmm.
that want revenge, those are people in the court of public opinion. They have no power. They're on Twitter and they're mad and they say, hey, listen, we just want to see cops go down in a ball of flame. We want to see, it don't even have to be cops. We just want to see somebody go down in a ball of flame. That's the court of public opinion. But the problem is, and you see it with this LeBron thing, all the celebrity thing, is when the court of public opinion can put so much political pressure on the people who make the real decisions. Now you can't distinguish between the leadership and the court of public opinion. Like, you're supposed to be able to make that distinction. Like, okay, this is how the people in the street feel, and this is what the law is, and this is how it's going to be applied. But
Mm-hmm.
it's coming to a point where there's no distinction. Like you said, the
Right.
mob does this, politician does this. It's kind of like the mob is the ventriloquist, you know what I mean, on the dummy, and like they're
Yeah.
pulling strings. So
Mm-hmm.
that's when you have a problem. And it's almost getting to a point where, like you said, people don't want solutions. Now they just want revenge.
And that's what causes more of a problem. Because let's take Michael Brown. That's one of the great cases. Because the reason, and then we as blacks get mad because we say, see this, they think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and they say it proves that it's systemic racism because these white cops, okay, fine, they triumph, it's theater, and they get off. No, they're getting off because, especially in Darren Wilson's case, he should never have gone to a grand jury. There were too many eyewitnesses at the scene that said none of that stuff happened. But what happened is the mob screamed, so some politician got scared and said, we got to give them something. Let's just give them a grand jury anyway. And then when they sit in that room, now they're looking at evidence. And then the people in the room, just regular people in the neighborhood with common sense, are like, well, that dude was not guilty. I'm not going to send a guy to prison for murder if he didn't. I'm not that crazy. And then they say, not guilty. And then the mob is now mad. It's like, you said you were going to try him. You tried him, but nothing happened. So it was all a farce. It was like kangaroo court. And then we just get back into the cycle.
Right.
So it just makes it worse. This is why I say Black Lives Matter makes it worse. One of the 1,643 reasons.
Right. Well, the interesting thing, now that you touched on it, we just gonna go on in it for a few minutes. We got a few minutes left. We're gonna touch on it. With Black Lives Matter, I feel like they're in a very, I would say, privileged position, because if you're a black person, right, and you say, hey, I support Black lives, but I'm not really too keen on the organization, right there, you're considered anti-black. They don't want to hear no other explanation from you. You win against.
Mm-hmm.
See, because the organization and the slogan are not distinguished at this point. So if you say you're against Black Lives Matter organization, it's like you said you're against everything black. So
it means you're pro cop.
So basically, Black Lives Matter, they kind of benefit because in the black neighborhood, it's almost like they're above criticism, right? The thing, if you're a black person, you criticize Black Lives Matter, what happens to you usually? You get hung in the court of public opinion, right? And
I do it every day.
right.
Every day.
And the funny thing is that like you've touched on something earlier. There's a lot of black people that's going, okay, I hear the criticism. I agree with some of the things, but I'm still going to side with them, knowing that if you got to take one, you got to take all of it, right? So if
But
you,
they also don't know just how bad they are, but they will.
right,
That's my job. That's my job.
right. So the whole thing is that it's like, okay, they're fighting for police brutality, but they want to destroy the nuclear family, you know?
But they're
So,
not. But they're not even fighting for police brutality. That's what people don't know.
right. I got
They're not.
a book that's coming in for everybody that knows. He's now writing a book and it's going to be great. And he's going to do his research that's necessary to let all y'all know
I
what's
was in the weeds for a month. I took apart every article, every person they interviewed, every organization they worked with. I can guarantee you, they are not pro-black, and they are not fighting against police brutality.
right.
When I'm done, you will have no reason to side for them. Everything you side with them for, I'm going to take away from you. You're not
Right.
going to have anything left.
Well,
Except I'm angry and I'm emotional. I'm emotionally weak, intellectually lazy, surface thinker. That's all you got left.
right. Well, and that's how a lot of people kind of get roped into this. Like, think of a case like we'll go back to LeBron James, right? He's a rich guy. He lives in Beverly Hills where he's not in those neighborhoods where the center of attention is, right?
What do you mean he's not in those neighborhoods? He just told me on Twitter that he's afraid of white people. So you can't tell me he doesn't live in a black neighborhood. I won't believe that.
Listen, listen, I can assure you he lives with his armed guards. All of those stars, you know, they live in the Hollywood Hills, they live in Beverly Hills, and I'm pretty sure those areas are about 70 to 80% white. But
90.
yeah. But here's the thing. Regardless of the demographic makeup, the point is a guy like that, right? He has money, and his money allows him to be a little disconnected
Oh,
from the broader black community. So this issue is a way for all these celebrities to kind of bridge that connection, right? Like, oh yeah, I have armed guards and $20 million, but I'm still fighting for the cause, right? So it
right.
would political and just social sense that these celebrities would back everything that the left is throwing out, right? Because there's already a separation between the stars, their life, and the typical life of a black American. So obviously them feeling that they have to stay relevant in that space. So, you know, so Black Lives Matter definitely has a lot of things that they use in their favor.
You're forgetting something though. Think back. Think back. It's like going back into the 60s and the 70s and 50s, but it's really only months. Think about it. I asked someone today this, and they didn't think about it until I asked them. Think about pre-COVID, pre-George Floyd. Close your eyes and think. How many black people did you see walking around with Black Lives Matter t-shirts, yard signs, things in the window? Because I was in Chicago at the time, and it was none, zero. Black Lives Matter was a joke in the black community until George Floyd died. So what changed? They were around for 6 years. What changed? Did blacks not lie? Black lives not matter to blacks in 2017, in
Well,
2016, 2018? Why now?
what they did,
What but they're full on supporting now. But they were just like, yeah, they seem a little extreme. They're the same people you thought were extreme before, only they're worse. So,
right? But the difference is that they have a catalyst now. Like you said,
mhm.
if you look back in history, there's always that period
They
where
needed a spark.
right, where Black Lives Matter died down, and then a Michael Brown happened, and everybody's wearing the T-shirt. And then when things calm down, nobody thinks about it. And then Eric Gardner happens, right?
Michael Brown. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, Eric. I'm
Eric,
with you. Mhm.
what's up? Alvin Sterling. The list goes
Freddie
on.
Gray,
Right. So
Amir Rice, John Crawford.
well, what happens is when these situations happen, the regular black person is sitting there looking at it like, okay, I believe something bad happens, even though I'm a regular person with no political power. This is my chance to stand up for what I think is a right cause, right? But it doesn't provide any solutions. It just makes people feel like I'm a part of the fight for what's good. And the thing is that as black conservatives, we have to let people know that it's not a crime to say, hey, I care about Black lives. I don't have to agree with the organization to come up with solutions for the black community. Because think about it. What demands have Black Lives Matter made? I'm talking about
None,
real demands.
none, not one, none. But I'm
Like,
going to tell you, I'm gonna say this in part two, but in the book I'll explain you why they don't have any solutions.
Right. And
It's
right.
intentional. It's not because they don't know. It's intentional.
Right. And we definitely gonna wrap this up, but just one more thing real quick since we brought it up, because if you look, right, there was political pressure put on the politicians and they threw out the bills, right? If you have hundreds of $1 million, you have this big hierarchy organization, you mean to tell me you can't have a list of anti-police brutality bills just waiting in the wing? And you could just tell the politician, hey, you don't have to write nothing. Here you go. Here you go. We already got it. There's nothing to think about. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's all right there. So, like I said, for everybody that's watching, you could just drop a comment. Tell us how you feel about LeBron James. Tell us how you feel about Black Lives Matter. As a matter of fact, tell us how you feel about the guests on the show. We welcome all comments.
You can catch me Thursday on the Black Table on Facebook Live
Right.
or Chicago AM 560. The Answer.
Right. You can catch him on the Black Table. I'll be tuning in. And also, for everybody that's watching, Monday at 3 p.m., Rediscovering Black Conservatism featuring Joe Collins. For all y'all that don't know, Joe Collins is running against Maxine Waters.
Maxine Waters.
Crazy Maxine Waters, one of the biggest Democratic machines on the West Coast. We'll be interviewing Joe Collins. He'll tell us his response, his work, and what he's fighting for out there against Maxine Waters. So,
Good dude. I had him on the show.
Exactly. See, it just goes around. So for all y'all, I want y'all to watch. Oh, first, I want y'all to, if y'all haven't, check out Charles Love's first other book.
We want equality.
We
How
want
the fight for equality gave way to preference.
Right. So for all y'all looking for readable material, you can log on to that. If you haven't seen all of my videos, you can hit the subscribe button. David Cypher's Conservatism. You can also go to Black Table on Facebook, check out the debate. And
Good information.
Right. Check out Charles Love on Sunday on the Liberty Hour. You can check him out too. And that's it. Like I said, just watch out for Monday and watch out for those upcoming events. And have a good night.